Hi everyone, my name is Coco. I work at the Healdsburg and Foss Creek Boys and Girls Club. I've been working there for a couple years. It doesn't look like I know very many of you, but that's okay. We're all here to do a cool, very simple art project. Everyone can do this project. It doesn't matter how old you are, so don't worry about the difficulty level. You guys are all gonna be able to do it. It's pretty simple. Like I said many times now, if you've been on this meeting, all you're gonna need is a piece of paper, a pen or a pencil, and then to make your lines straight, if you want them to be straight, you can use your ruler, or you can use another way of making your lines straight, or you can just free write it and just try doing it yourself. All right. Can I get a thumbs up that everyone is ready on that part? Thumbs up from everybody. Awesome. Next thing I wanted to say, if you have a question or if I'm going too fast, you're gonna use the little, if you go scroll to the bottom and you see your reactions button, you can use the clapping emoji. So we know you have a question or a something you want to say. So then Katie can unmute you. Okay? Thumbs up if that makes sense. Awesome. Okay, we are ready to go. So the first thing you guys are all going to do, get your paper flat on a flat surface. And very simple, you're going to trace your hands. Now I am using a Sharpie, but you guys are using a pen or a pencil for this first step, okay? So take your time, keep your hand as steady as possible. All right, and your hand should look something like that. I mean, my hand is a lot bigger than all of yours, but it should look something like that. And then when you are done with that first step, give me a thumbs up so I know that you're ready to move on to the next step. So don't rush yourself. But the next step of what you're gonna do, you are gonna create lines across your paper, okay? So the paper is your lines are going to go across the paper, and you can just use your ruler. If you don't have a ruler, that's okay. You can just go through and just go through it as is. You don't need it. It doesn't need to be perfect straight lines. It's not the end of the world if you don't have a ruler or a book to make it as straight as possible, okay? So I'm just gonna do a couple lines so you guys can see what I'm working on over here. Remember, it does not need to be perfect. And remember, you're not going through your hands. I'm gonna stop there. I'm doing it with Sharpie so you guys can see in the Zoom. But you see how I started creating lines across like that? That's so you guys are creating the first step that's going to create the illusion. Okay?
All right. So some people are done with their lines. Is anyone still working on their lines through their hands?
If you are done, still working? Awesome. So this next step is extremely important that you pay attention because it's a little tricky. And some of you might have a little bit of a hard time with it. So don't worry if you don't get it right away because it seems easy, but it kind of gets tricky. So the next part is you are going to create in your hand. You're going to make these lines. You're going to connect the lines from one side of the hand to the other. But instead of making it straight, you're gonna kind of make it go a little curvy. So you're gonna go up above each line a little curvy and connect to the next one, okay? And that's kind of what creates our illusion, because you're making this kind of go in a curved way like that. And then once you get to the fingers as well, you're gonna make little curves in the fingers as well. Okay, does that make sense to everyone? Okay, you guys see that? Okay, so when you go to one line, you're gonna connect it to the next line by making a little curve right there. I know it's hard to see, but I'll bring it up to the screen. Same with the fingers. You're gonna make little curves in the fingers. So those little curves in the fingers to make those lines as straight as possible, and then all of a sudden it gets curvy once it hits the fingers. Now that you have gotten to that part of the illusion, this is one of my examples. So we can pause, you guys can look at my very interesting examples. This is kind of an example with using pencil, which is why I recommended some of you use a pencil, but it's okay if you use marker like I did, because it does get a little difficult and hard to see when you're using pencil, so that's why I used pen as well. But that's kind of the idea of the illusion. So the next step, if you have any coloring options to color and make it look more pop out and make it more look like an illusion, this is your time where you guys can get really creative with it. So let me show you my examples of my finished product of my colored ones. Now, if you don't have one, you can always do this another day when you do have that option. Here's one with the Sharpie that I used. So this is kind of like a finished product one. And then here's one with pencil, which this one's kind of hard to see in the zoom. But this one kind of looks a little bit more like an illusion because it's not as, it's kind of harder to see. So what you want to do when you're coloring, if you do have colors and you have this option, you kind of go from one side to the other following the line. So you color it one color across, another color under, and another color under, and you create a pattern. So that pattern kind of creates the illusion itself.